Welcome to the We Shine Well podcast, where I have real conversations with thought leaders in wellness to help you live your most vibrant, aligned, and purposeful life. I'm your host, Zoe Kelsey, founder of We Shine Well. Here, we share honest stories, gems of wisdom, and insight to spark clarity and guide your next right step, so you can shine brighter from the inside out. Now let's dive in. Today, I'm joined by one of the most authentic, community-centric, and supportive founders I know, Vida Delrahim, the co-founder of WeNatal, a premium prenatal for him and for her, transforming the way we approach fertility, conception, and reproductive health. After her own deeply personal experiences with loss and building a family, Vida and Ronit saw a gap in the fertility space, one that placed the emotional and physical burden almost entirely on women. WeNatal was born from a powerful reframe. Fertility is not a solo journey, it's a team sport. In our conversation, we talk about shifting the fertility narrative from me to we, supporting both partners before and during conception, building community in one of life's most vulnerable seasons, and bringing optimism back into a space often defined by fear and isolation. Vida also shares what grounds her through motherhood and entrepreneurship, and we explore how purpose can emerge through our journeys. This episode is honest, hopeful, and deeply connective and inspiring for anyone trying to conceive, supporting a partner, or longing for a more inclusive, compassionate approach to fertility. Let's dive in. Hi, Vida. I am so excited to have you on the podcast today as not only the co-founder of WeNatal, but also one of the most authentic, community-centric, and supportive founders that I know. I'm so grateful both for you and Ronit in just my own journey and as friends.
Likewise, we adore you, Zoe. You're brilliant, and it's an honor to be on your podcast. So excited that you launched it.
Thank you. So I just want to dive in of how did you get to where you are today? You've come from such a powerful leadership background. What personal experiences led you to create WeNatal?
It's a great question, and one actually that I probably never thought would be my path. So I grew up. I was going to UCLA. I became an intern for Nike. I fell in love with sports and wellness and really the mission of the company, which was if you have a body, you're an athlete, and inspiring everybody to move. So from a young age, I grew up in a family who was always very wellness inspired. My mom was cooking clean and, she was into this stuff. I'd say well ahead of the wellness trends. I spent 20 years of my corporate career at Nike and helped plan some of their biggest running events. And I knew what went into a race, the long runs on Sundays, getting a coach, getting the right meal plan and nutrition, recovery, the right clothes and shoes. And you don't just wake up and decide to run a marathon. But what's ironic is when I decided with my husband that we wanted to start trying for a family, we just decided, okay, we're ready, we're young, we're healthy enough, let's just go and try. And it quite literally skipped all the steps that we knew and the prep that we probably knew would be normal to do for anything else. And I'm sure a lot of your audience relate because we prep for a lot of things, but somehow when it comes to having a baby, we all just, okay, let's go, or we're too late or we're too old. And so 3 months later, I did get pregnant, and I went to a routine ultrasound and waited to hear the heartbeat that's everybody waits for. And I saw my OBGYN's face go silent. His face kind of dropped, and he looked at me and I said, "I'm so sorry, there's no heartbeat." And it was one of the worst experiences of my life. Needless to say, I will never forget that moment of sheer devastation, self-blame, guilt. I remember driving so hard, driving home, and crying so hard that my jaw ached, and I went through months of this depressive state, analyzing everything I did, which I'm sure everyone can relate to. Was it too much coffee? Was it the Soul Cycle spinning class I did? Was it the stress at work? I could have picked any of those things and said that was the thing. But there was no answer. My doctor just said, hey, it's very common. Try again when you're ready. Lucky for me, my best friend was Ronit, and she had left Nike. That's where we met. She
Mhm.
had left to work for Dr. Mark Hyman, who's one of the best functional medicine practitioners in the space. And she actually encouraged me to go deeper. She said, there's more to this. There's got to be more that you can do. Let me check your thyroid. Have you, cleaned your home with toxins? And so with her guidance, I actually found out that even though my labs were quote, quote, normal, they weren't optimal. Definitely not for having a
Mhm.
kid. I dug deeper. I found those, which is the thyroid, autoimmune condition with diet, nutrition, lifestyle. I completely was able to have a healthy baby girl, Dahlia, and I thought the nightmare was over. I was like, okay, I figured it out. I figured out my prenatal care routine. I had a healthy baby girl. Fast forward to 2020, midst
Mhm.
COVID chaos, Ronit and I were both trying for our second children. And I went for another routine checkup only to get the same devastating silence in the
Mm.
heartbeat. And so this is my second one. I just figured, it probably is common. It does just happen. The only change this time was that a week later, Ronit called me with the same devastating news. And so there
Mm.
we were, two best friends. We had figured out our prenatal care routine, and literally there was two losses and no satisfying answers. And
Mhm.
so that's got us in our chats. And thank God Ronit was working in the functional medicine space because she wasn't willing to just accept that it just happens answer. She started
Yeah.
digging into the research. I remember one day she called me and she's like, Vida, I uncovered all this research about men's health, men being 50% pregnancy loss, men being 50% of pregnancy outcomes, and men you take 4 to 5 times, antioxidants has 4 to 5 times likelihood of improving odds of
Mhm.
health. See, it was Zoe, the brain flowing up emoji. It realized I was like, okay, that's so intuitive on certain levels. It takes two to be a baby,
Mhm.
you get that intuitively. But how could it be that we're so advanced in so many ways? I myself have multiple losses. My husband was in the room and no one even asked him a single question. How could it be that,
Mhm.
here we are in 2020 and the burden of fertility is still on women like it's a women's health issue? If
Mhm.
not. And
Yeah.
so literally that research stopped us dead in our tracks. Our life's mission changed. We switched gears and we created WeNatal to be, the first line was very simple, prenatal care for her and him. And
Mhm.
what it was, we kind of put our husbands on this DIY version of what then would WeNatal would become. But we took all
Mhm.
those antioxidants that were in the research and we went on to each have a healthy baby girl. And we realized, oh, by the way, we're living amidst like a fertility crisis. 1 in 6 couples are dealing with infertility. The numbers are getting more and more staggering. All things on right, miscarriages, erectile dysfunction, you name it. We're in this state where people are trying to have kids and are struggling.
Mhm.
And so we had to make the road better for those behind us. And while those losses were the most devastating part of our journey, we look back now and we're like, we're so happy for those little souls who came into our life because if not, we would have never came out with we would have never helped over 30,000 couples become parents. We would have never been able to
Mhm.
have this new life mission and hope to help millions become healthy, happy families. And so that was the moment that stopped everything for us. And that's how WeNatal was born.
Mhm. Wow. That is a powerful journey and story. And I just also want to say thank you for sharing. And that must be so hard of the three losses between both of you. And as much as people can say like everything happens for a reason or like believing it, like there's still the emotional toll that goes on with all of that in even having that perspective of yourself of this has helped both of us like support and even create WeNatal where we might not have in the future.
And that's why I
Mhm.
want to share that full circle moment because when you're in it, trust me, I ask all the questions that a lot of my friends have asked. Will I ever have kids? Why me? I told you I was in like a depressive state, analyzing everything I did, blaming myself. It's so easy to say, have a
Mhm.
great this is in your path, everything will be great, but when you're in it, it's very hard. And that's also why we wasn't just about supplement. It was about empowerment. It's about education, optimism. And the only supplement really in the market that has a journal, authored by your friend Lily Coanza, that's a good friend of yours as
Yes.
well, because we believe that like gratitude is a key component, and your mental health is a key component to fertility that is oftentimes forgotten. We obviously check the boxes of like, okay, I got rid of the toxins in my home, I got clean beauty products. You start checking the boxes. But if you're, which I was, in a very stressed, negative state, if you're in adrenal fatigue because you're stressed and cortisol is through the roof every day, your body can't prioritize conception. It's quite literally sending the blood in your body to the veins, to the limbs to start running as if you're being chased on a bear. So if you think about it just from like, historically how our bodies were made, we're not made to be in a stressful state every single day. And I in a 20-year corporate career, and I know Zoe, you can attest, takes a toll on your body. And so we're not saying stress is going to go away or get rid of it before you have try hungry. That's like illogical advice. But we're just saying find ways to mitigate it. And for me, once William taught me about journaling, about it's like a muscle that you work out at the gym. The more you become grateful, even some mornings, it was literally my cup of coffee or just that the sun is shining. I didn't have these like laundry list of things to be grateful for. At least I didn't feel so. But as I got used to it and I have it now, I look at things, and even on the hardest days, even on things that are challenging in my life, even on days in our business where things are rough, I know there will be that. I have true certainty that things will come full circle, and sometimes it'll take a day, sometimes it'll take a year. You might not know, but knowing that like you will get through it, you will come stronger after it, and that helped me a lot. That's something I always love to share because it's not often in a moment you could see the full circle of it, but now WeNatal was created out of like one of those darkest moments of me and my best friend's lives.
Yeah. And it can be so isolating and just like emotionally charged at times. And WeNatal, as you mentioned, it's more than a brand. It's truly a community that you've created of these women and couples to have that support for themselves with the journals and other women and in community. And why is community so important to you and Ronit and just thread through everything that you do? I mean, if somebody like, I'm grateful to know you and know that everything that you both do, like community and supporting other people is key. And that just like is exuded through your brand.
Well, thank you for saying that. That means so much coming from you also, because very community focused. But also when we accepted this round, like I said at the beginning, it was never like we woke up and, we see a big business opportunity in supplements. Like we came from a place of making the road behind us better. And we didn't see anyone really creating fertility and treating it like a team sport that it should be. Like I mentioned, I ran marathons. I wouldn't just sign up and run. I would do all the things. And so how is it that during this, like arguably one of the most crucial points in your life where you're going to create human life, whether you're going to get that child, the genetics, for their whole life. So those 3 months before, some people call it trimester 0, those 3 months before this golden window of opportunity that no one's talking about. So when we learned the research, learned about the nutrient reserves that both partners need to be on and sustain to have healthy pregnancies, we really just wanted to change the world and create more optimism around fertility, more empowerment, because we were just given no answers. Keep trying. There's nothing you can do. You're old. You name it. I was named geriatric, both my pregnancies, when I was old. It's just like there's so much toxicity and misinformation in the fertility space. And so what we created the brand that we wanted to have when we were trying, which was about optimism, empowerment. And we also know that there's more and more research now about community. It was always innate to us. We always knew we never wanted to do it alone. We're not VC. There's no pressures to grow overnight or to cut our margins. For us, it was about doing what we love, which was bringing people together, making people feel not alone in their journey. We are that network and that village for anyone, any stage of life, whether you're thinking about freezing your eggs, whether a person on the WeNatal team who had her baby at 57 with an egg donor, we're there for you no matter what your story is. And there's more and more research about community truly being this like thing that's as the way food is medicine, so is community. And loneliness is actually one of like the hardest tolls on your body. And we always thought about communities like woo woo and like gratitude and maybe journaling as like these like granola practices. But now there's increasingly amounts of research on it. And it's so great because we always felt better around our village, like comforted, no matter what the situation. When I had love, I went to my best friend. I went to all my girlfriends to feel better. And so we want to be that and create that community for everyone, no matter what stage of life, as we know, is no matter the ups and the downs. You be your village more than ever. And looking out a baby, it's true, it takes a village.
Yes, yes. Well, and when you think about it too, it's like at the end of the day, we all want to feel this sense of love and belonging within ourselves and each other. And we're in this like loneliness epidemic of sorts that causes stress. And when we have that stress and we have that loneliness, like our body biologically is not going to prioritize just our hormones and fertility. And even women who are athletes, there's like reds as well, as like if there's not enough fuel coming in to your body as like a form of even further stress. And to your point, like it's a team sport as well, and it's powerful where it's first bringing those couples together to even have more of that community and the connection together, and to be able to have that out in the world. So it's just a powerful reframe. And what do you find that changes when couples adopt that it's not just the woman, but it's also the male as half of the story and outcome of having a baby as well?
It's I think for most it's empowering. I think men are well intentioned. They want to help. They want to be part. They didn't go. The research wasn't there. No one was talking to them. No one was giving them tangible things to do. There's such low hanging fruit. And what was, I think for me, the most fascinating thing as part of this journey is learning that men are regenerating sperm every second of the day. 1,500 sperm every second. So in 3 months, around 72 days, they have a completely new batch, which means that in 3 months with diet, nutrition, cleaner lifestyle, they can completely transform their 50%. So why but the best support and help my partners? And at first when we lost, we didn't know what the reception would be. Would Ben take this? And we were over the moon to see that 50% of people were subscribing together. And these men are going to be the best dads because they're investing in their children's health before they're even born. And they're invested. I truly believe it makes the couple stronger. They're doing it together. And the testimonials we've gotten also from the dad are, what's interesting is that a lot of people treat fertility as, like I mentioned, to check the box. Like, okay, I'm ready now. Let me do the things and then be done. But the men who are taking WeNatal for him are feeling more energy, more mental focus. They have hair regrowth. They have a stronger and they're shocked and they stay on it. But the reality is health and fertility are actually hand in hand. We just actually did, with Dr. Valerie Crawford, a brilliant fertility doctor at OBGYN. And she was really saying it's all one. It's a biomarker of your health. So treating your fertility is like a longevity conversation or overall health conversation, but it's all we're doing no matter what stage of life we're in. And because our food system is so nutrient depleted, because our soils and our minerals, if we eat the orange, if our grandparents ate an orange, it's the equivalent nutrient density of eating 8 oranges today. So you don't realize that over the years, our soils are so depleted of these rich minerals. And even if we're eating all organic, clean Mediterranean diet, eating the rainbow, you cannot get enough vitamins and minerals from food. And that's why the supplement is like the low-hanging fruit. And then keeping that in your home, we're rich of resources. Every subscriber gets a nutrition consult because we want to empower people with tools. You can't just supplement your way, out of eating McDonald's or that applies, right? Like, it has to be this. And we're teaching it everyone. Our home has clean air, clean, drinking water. There is such low-hanging fruit that's free. Prioritizing your sleep is arguably one of the most important things you can do in this time of training. So we tacked all these guides in our Instagram and guides in our free math class, because really, to your point about community, it's more important for us to be this like holistic, well-branded, down the ground that can bring all the research that we wish we have from our medical experts, from our nutritionists, our doctors, and we bring that to people on our blogs as well. So I'd say we're an education first brand, and then the products have a second.
Well, and I think that's so powerful because you're bringing the holistic person in. You aren't just selling them on something that they might that they're like, oh, this is something that I should be taking, but it's like this is a way of life to support them now and their future generations as well. And even with the potency of like prenatals, like I take your prenatal myself of like, I don't have a husband or boyfriend, but I'm like, I'm of childbearing age. Like, why would I not take a prenatal to have all of these incredible nutrients to support my overall health and hormones and whenever I do want to have a baby in the future?
And it's, it's amazing. And we love that because our medical board also recommends if you're in those childbearing years, not only to your point, you're building nutrient reserves. And it's so helpful to have that habit in place and not worry. Listen, 50% of pregnancies are unplanned. You want to make sure that no matter where you're at, when you're ready, your body's ready too. And that's why a lot of us, like, my hairstyles is like I did later in life when I had a career. I did all the things. And then when I went to have kids, I just tried. I didn't think to stop and do the prep. If you're living that lifestyle, if you clean your home of toxins, you're ready no matter when you find your future partner, which is so powerful.
Yeah. Well, let's talk tactically too. So somebody is in that trimester 0, and
Yes.
what are they? What is the man and what is the woman? Both. What are they both doing lifestyle wise, in addition to taking a prenatal, support their selves, mind, body, and soul to be able to have a baby?
I love that. Okay, so the foundation, food, is so important. So the most researched diet for fertility is a Mediterranean diet, which actually uses good quality animal proteins, lean, I subscribe to ButcherBox, but whatever works for you, getting good quality first. Eating the rainbow, so multicolored fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, like just really eating whole foods. Most of our American diet is ultra processed. So how we can go back to cooking more at home, using good oils, not seed oils, and when you do go, and it is okay to go out and truly enjoy it because that's medicine too, right? Enjoyment, joy, bringing joy back into the relationship, which when I was going through loss was like something that was forgotten. So treating food is like the number one. I would say there's kind of two camps. There's the fertility boosters and the blockers. So once you're boosting it, it's good food, clean water. So getting a good water filter in your home, clean air in your home, opening the windows, getting maybe an air doctor or an air filter, or even just bringing plants in your home, all provide that clean oxygen. And then prioritizing your sleep and stress is arguably, to me, what I think are the most part that I didn't know. Sleep is the time when your body repairs everything. And so that's what our medical board even says when you're trying, if you're waking up at 4 or 5 a.m. just to get the workout and that's providing you more stress, sleep over exercise even. I mean, we still recommend healthy movement, but sleep is this foundation that we're all doom scrolling. We're all sleeping less. We're all going out more. We're waking up really kind of packed more in our day. But during this time, especially, sleep is crucial. So prioritizing, for me, what that looked like was investing in an Oura ring. I actually started to learn the patterns that work for me. I'm not going to say don't be on your phone because it's not realistic for most of us. Buy these red glasses and they're supposed to block some of the blue light. I bought red light mulch for the light bulb by my bed. I invested in a weighted sleep pillow that really helped me get deeper sleep. That's called Mod Pod. I got a weighted blanket. I tried all the things because I have sleep issues, and I now realize that sleep for me is like life or death crucial. And stress, it's finding ways to mitigate it. So is meditation works for you? Absolutely. If you like sound baths, if you like walks in nature, if you like, for me, exercise is my meditation. It's like my hour to sweat and feel good and like I'm out better.
Yeah.
I take walks. I take walking meetings. I try to get sunlight. before I look at my phone in the morning. So like waking up and getting a little bit of, the actual sun is so crucial to set up your circadian rhythms. It's really put back to also our grandparents' generation, like eat nourishing foods, sleep, be in like more loving situations, which is a community, being belonging with the car, cooking together, extra, like anything that brings you in a more calm state, you should do it. And that's not one size fits all. And then the blockers, listen, our world is a toxic soup. So there's a lot that we can't control. Forget about that. We're going to control micro things that we can't control, and those make a big difference. So we talked about toxic behaviors during this time frame, call it things that are very common in today's age, drinking, smoking, heroin, all those things it's time to put those aside for these 3 months. And for the men listening, it's not forever, but the research does show removing these toxic behaviors during the fertility phase is super important. Then also things for men, things that are actually healthy, like a sauna and hot tubs during this time are not good. The sperm is very delicate to the heat, so we want to stay out of those situations. And if you must go in those situations, the ice packs are down there. They do exist. You can find on Amazon. And then no laptops in the pocket, no laptops on your lap. I mean, there's just things that you have to be much more sensitive about as a male. And the same movement, men take over 4,000 steps a day. We're shown to have more testosterone. It's just living a healthier lifestyle. Get out and move during the day. Get the sunlight. Take your vitamins. Eat nourishing foods. And have good quality time with friends and community. And it's very similar for women. And community over everything. That seems to really help our nervous systems. And Zoe and I were just talking about a nervous reset. But like, it's crucial. We did a women's circle at my house last night to set intentions for the new year. Find what works for you as the PSA. And it's very easy in your fertility journey to get caught up with like, oh, my friend ate fast food and does all these bad things, and they got pregnant easily. It's impossible to replicate. Everyone's journey is so unique. So it's also just about putting your best foot forward, like I mentioned in the marathon. Like, you don't want to show up to race it all flat. You want to do the work so that you feel good. That, like, no matter all these things I can't control, call it the weather on race day, call it the, whatever, the cheering and all that. You can't control the external factors. But you can't control your preparation and what you show up to race day doing. And that's our PSA. It's like, do your best. Put your best support. It's not forever, but both of you getting on board could dramatically change the outcomes. I can give you countless examples. One of our customers shared her stories on our blog, Cassie. She had 13 rounds of assisted reproductive technology, IUI, IVF, 13 rounds.
Oh my God.
She finally, as her last resort, was told, maybe you should consider your diet. And, as a last resort.
As a last resort.
Found functional medicine. She found Dr. Hyman. She found WeNatal. She cleaned her and her partner, her husband, went on WeNatal. They cleaned up their eating and their lifestyle and went on to have 2 healthy children. And I can tell you of testimonials from people who were told IVF is their only choice. They have unexplained infertility. And all these foundational stuff are the things that will help support you no matter what route you take. Even if you have ART, even if you're trying naturally, even if you want to do IUI, setting up you and your partner's sperm and egg health will set up no matter what situation. And oh, by the way, Dr. Natalie Crawford also said there's so much you could do before you go to IVF, which is costly, hardy on the body, and there's no 100% success metric. So why not do the work to make sure whichever route you take, you have the best outcomes?
It's those simple things of getting back to basics that are actually the big things that truly transform everything that we're doing. And you kind of touched on it too, is like every couple and woman's journey is very unique to them, yet we can get caught up in the comparison trap of you only see people's announcement photos or like when they might know. What would you recommend for women that are feeling alone in their fertility journey and comparing themselves to other people where they might have had a previous loss and they're working on cleaning up their diet and their lifestyle, but they are deeply in the journey right now?
This is where community comes into play. Let me just tell you, social media can be so beautiful in some ways and so toxic in other ways. And so what I would tell you is, no, for every ultrasound picture, birth announcement you see, a beautiful pregnant person you see on Instagram, you have no idea what it took them to get there. And I'm telling you as a friend that because I live and breathe this in the fertility space, I can't even tell you how many people are showing their beautiful bumps that I know that they had 7 years of infertility or 2 years of struggling. Or my point is, it's easy to look at the success and get caught up, but everyone's been through a journey. It's not always a loss. It's not always a hardship. Sometimes it's secondary infertility. They had a healthy kid and now they can't have their second. And it's such a multifaceted thing that the more we get caught up in other people's stories, we're actually taking away from our own journey and replenishing ourselves. So for me, what that was like, I had to actually not be on social media. I had to not get caught up in other people's stories. And that's what good friends has come into play, because where you can have a safe space to be honest about your feelings of hurt, of anger, of bitterness. Like I got all those feelings and I needed my best friend in a safe space to be able to let those out, or else they would have like boiled. And if you find things that can help you be in a calmer state, for me, it was getting massages every now and then. I did acupuncture. You kind of have to find what works for you. And I also say, like, I really leaned in on a close network of girlfriends who I trusted, but I have friends who will literally tell and talk to everybody, and then they got 100 different viewpoints of what they should do, and then they became overwhelmed by it. You know, your mom told you, your sister told you to do this, and your best friend said, no, that's wrong, you should do this. And so find if you trusted experts, whether for me it was Dr. Mark Hyman, Kelly LeVeque. There are people with high integrity that I believed in their ethos, and I followed them, and I went by what they said. So sometimes the blessing of like following a lot of people or having a lot of friends or having a lot of community is great, but you really need to do the research yourself, trust your own body, be your own advocate, and know what works for you, which may be very different than your best friend.
And I also like how you shared that it was not that I liked it in your journey, but that it was your second child that you were trying for where you had a miscarriage. Because I feel like more commonly you hear about women that it might be their first child as well, and then people are like, the second child is just going to be a breeze. Like, it'll come, and having those possible expectations, and that might not happen.
Yeah, it's a different. So for me, I had a miscarriage before I had kids. And again, in between my first and second. Ronit thought it would be a breeze, just like you. And even though she was 41, she was like, I work in the functional medicine space and all the things. Like, it's going to be no problem. And when she had miscarriage between her first and her second. And what we quickly both realized, one, that we were both ignoring the other half of the equation. And you're right, there is no guarantee. Our body could be so different from year to year. It could be more depleted. It could be not. It could be that we're living in a more toxic area, or our home has mold. Like, there's so many variables at play that you might not have any clue. So that is also why staying on a high quality prenatal, taking care of yourself, doing the things that you want to do, especially when you're welcoming a baby at your home, which is like, the toxins and all the things, are all the things that actually get your body ready as well. So don't just do it for the baby, do it for yourself.
Yeah. And there are so many prenatals out there, but you are differentiated too with having that prenatal for him and for her. But getting more into the nitty gritty with what is in your supplements, you don't have to take as many of them to be able to have the nutrients that you need. Can you talk a little bit more about like the nutrient density that you pack in these prenatals?
Yeah. So actually, when we first incepted WeNatal, we were like, okay, we're going to make a men's prenatal because no one has one. No one's talking about this. And we thought the world had enough women's prenatals, because there are a ton. But when you pull back the cover, we realized there was two camps. There was really expensive ones, hard to get, maybe through a doctor's office. And to your point, Zoe, we were trying to down the high quality ones that were 8 to 10 capsules a serving. we got the 8 capsules in a pouch, and then we were adding the things that we found the research said was missing. It was not doable for me. Ronit had no problem swallowing capsules. I was nursing 1 or 2 per meal. It was just not feasible. We're like, we need to make this better experience for women. So we spent years on the formula with our medical board. It wasn't us. It was Dr. Henning, Kelly LeBeck, Bruce Ticketmeyer, Kathy Swift, Lisa Jarrett. We got together the best brains in the space, and they analyzed hundreds of these on the most potent, best forms of nutrients for pre-pregnancy, pregnancy, and postpartum. And what it came down to, we tried to get it in 2 capsules a day, but WeNatal provides 24 bioavailable ingredients, which means that everyone could absorb them, and there's nothing else. So the other thing that people should be really cautious about with supplements is it's not regulated by the FDA. So we realized that some of them had a paragraph of other ingredients that shouldn't be there. Call it additives, fillers, colors, dyes, dumps. It was unimaginable to us that people would not advocate, not learn, not read the ingredients and take these things. But then that's what the whole second half of the prenatals had. They were accessible. They might be down at a drugstore, but they were not clean form. They were not bioavailable, meaning not everyone could absorb the ingredients in it. There was too low of dosages to make a difference. And there was a paragraph of other stuff. And what you want to make sure, no matter what supplement you take, is that it is third-party tested, because that ensures the integrity of the brand and everything you see on the label is what you're actually getting, minus there's no, and you get toxins, heavy metals, mercury, you name it, they can creep into a vitamin. So we actually said, okay, we do need to recreate this experience. We need to get it down. We got it down to the nutrient density of 8 to 10 capsules in 3 per day. We have the leading, amounts of choline, which is crucial for baby brain health. Some prenatals don't even have that. Vitamin D, which is so important for like mom's health, baby's health. We literally pack 24 of the most quintessential nutrients designed for this space. And then for the men, we researched all the best antioxidants to boost sperm health. So call it CoQ10, NAC, alpha-lipoic acid, all these things, along with your multivitamin of like A, B, C, all those guys. And we've seen men who take these sperm tests before and after 3 months of WeNatal, and their sperm parameters quadruple. I'm talking about morphology, motility, and it's so powerful to see these nutrients really, and the research shows it. And so one thing about our brand is that we do third-party tests every single batch, and we share the research behind it and every dose on our website. So that's something you can easily go to our ingredients page and say, why do you have this formula? Hey, and why does it have this much of it in there? And it will clearly show you, cite the articles, cite it. And we just wanted to be this transparent brand that we couldn't find for ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I get all of my friends are pregnant or having multiple babies, and I'm like, they all have gotten on WeNatal because I'm like, it's so important and impactful for the just even health of their baby as well. So we've been talking about preconception, but how does WeNatal support women during pregnancy and postpartum as well?
Well, it was important for us. All the research was done based on those 3 phases, because some prenatals out there are making you switch or add more pre and add more post and want to make it easy. And so what the board did was really look at those 3 stages at optimal dosage for each stage. And so we packed it all into one. You don't have to change from trimester or when you're postpartum. And most people actually don't know that they should stay on it postpartum. And it's such a crucial point, because you are now sleep deprived, taking care of another human. You might be breastfeeding. You might be dad with waking up and doing feedings at night. You need to stay on a high quality multi once you become parents. You are more depleted and more sleep deprived. And so taking care of yourself, where most people start taking care of the baby, forget about themselves. And that's when you see people have hair loss. With my first pregnancy before WeNatal, I had patches of hair falling out because I was so depleted. And I did not get to take care of my prenatal. And so it's crucial for during and post, and it's been formulated for all the research on the website. I won't go into every single dosage, but it was thoughtfully curated with all three phases in mind.
Well, and you recently launched your protein powder as well. Can you share the why behind that?
And that was so exciting because the reality is that not everyone can swallow capsules. I know I wasn't good at it. And Ronit and I love smoothies. It's just an easier routine. And so many of our community asked us, like, can you make WeNatal in a powder form? And what we've quickly realized, and I'm sure Zoe, you feel this way as well, wellness seems to be becoming harder and harder. It's all the wellness trends. They're telling you to get your collagen, more protein, better quality. And so we're like, how can we kind of reinvent the prenatal? Yes, to make it powdered for our friends who prefer smoothies over swallowing, but how do we actually make it a better experience so we can cut out some of those wellness steps? So we, with our medical board, researched the best performance protein, which is grass-fed whey. It has a complete amino acid profile. It's the most researched protein. It's the most superior. So we took 20 grams of grass-fed whey. We added collagen that also supports pregnancy, hair, nails, skin, and we put our full prenatal in the powder. So one scoop, you can now get your full prenatal vitamins for the day, plus collagen and 20 grams of protein. And so it was about reinventing a space that needed, to make it easier. And if you're a smoothie person, this is a game changer. And we have it for her and for him. And that is just kind of like, which way do you want to WeNatal? Do you prefer to swallow your capsules or do you want to do a smoothie?
Well, and I think it's even more powerful because there are so many people that even during pregnancy, they're like, I can't even think of trying to swallow something or like keep anything down besides like toast or a smoothie.
Totally. And that first trimester nausea is so real. I experienced it with both my pregnancies. And so this is such an easy alternative. And you can make sure you get your nutrition. It is really important. So I was eating like sourdough bread and butter for most of my first time. Couldn't stomach the idea of anything else. And I was for sure not getting nutrients. I couldn't swallow pills. And so also the research shows that like cold items are easier to tolerate when you're nauseous versus like a hot meal. And so making a smoothie, putting on some yogurt or cottage cheese, like you could sprinkle a protein powder on literally anything, mix it in, and know that at least for that day you're getting your full prenatal vitamin.
And with that, how do you see WeNatal continuing to evolve as the fertility conversation expands and meeting your community where they are?
It's a great question. I think we are moments away from launching on Amazon. Such a true point. We want to make it easy for where they are. We launched as primarily a direct-to-consumer brand. Because there was so much research and storytelling around our brand, it was important for us to be able to communicate the why behind the what makes it different. And that's why we only started off with our own website to start. And then, key medical practitioners like Dr. Mark Hyman sold on his site. And we know for many that Amazon just makes life easier. It's that one for everybody. It's not everyone wants to go direct to consumer. So it's been years in the making. We should be launching very soon from when this podcast airs. And we're happy to also meet consumers where they're at. A lot of our functional medicine doctors are thrilled that we're on full script, which is where a lot of practitioners pick a whole lineup of things to take. And we continue to find very strategic opportunities for wholesale where our consumer wants us. We're not trying to be everywhere. We want to be where you need us and make it easy for everyone to get access to a good quality supplement.
Yeah. And if you could imagine the future of fertility care and support, what are you most hopeful about right now?
I really say Shows WeNatal is 100% when fertility is seen as another opportunity. As we're looking at both partners' health, we're checking both partners at the same time. We are truly making this a team sport, and that's I've already seen the tide shift in the short, almost 4 years of WeNatal was launched, and I'm seeing more men show up. I'm seeing them really, advocate. And to me, when that's like a 50-50 will be the day we'll have the biggest celebration, because that's what it should be. It should be equal partners, equal prep, and that's, and then the millions of babies that we're going to create. I believe we're close to 30,000 in right now, and we just want to take our mission around the globe because we can reverse some of the fertility crisis of what we're doing. And while we can't help for everything, we want to do our best foot forward to help as many people who want to start families as possible.
Well, also just take a moment to think about 30,000 babies being born because of WeNatal. Like, I just imagine stadiums of babies because of the power of WeNatal. That is a lot of babies. That is incredible.
Really exciting in 4 years. And more to come. We just, to your point, there is so much opportunity. There's so much education still that needs to happen. We are all the doctors and the practitioners and you only recommending us because that's how we're going to hit our mission, and people feeling empowered, people knowing what they can do. That's really why we're here.
Well, and there's so many shoulds and coulds as a founder, and this is a very sensitive place where you're taking a lot of people's emotions on as you talk to them, and it's a very sensitive time. What practices or beliefs support you through entrepreneurship and motherhood?
Ooh, it's a great one. I think, especially as I'm setting my intentions for 2026, as cliche as it might sound, but actually taking care of yourself, which as a mom, you rarely can find time to do. There's always so much to be done as a founder. You're never not working. And as a mom, it still is. But what I've really set to do is really carve out those times where I can, like I said, working at station, where I can maybe get the massage, do a little goes a long way for me. But when I start neglecting myself, I'm on burnout mode and no one gets the best of me. And so when you are juggling many things, whatever stage of life you're in, whether it's a new career, whether it's kids, I have kids, whether, it's climbing the corporate ladder, which I was there too. Boundaries and doing what's right for you is hard, especially if you're someone like me who's a people pleaser, type A, wants to do a good job. But I'm even later in life, I'm 43 now, finding boundaries with my husband and my kids, my business partner. You just have to find what works for you, but you really can't pour from an empty cup. And I know it sounds lame, but I was pouring from an empty cup for many years. I wasn't creative. I wasn't doing my best work. I was pretty, not present with my kids. And I'm determined to do better this year. And I know I will, because I'm putting my stake in the ground, but it really is just investing in yourself so you can invest in everything else.
All too real. I can resonate on so many different levels too. And especially in the wellness space, it's we're serving other people, but how can we also make sure that we are serving ourselves to be able to support? And I mean, I truly believe in you can't pour from an empty cup either. And even I don't know about you, but I grew up with, I adore my parents, but they were just full givers all the time, and I never saw them taking care of themselves. And I also feel like the generation that has kids now is kind of changing that to be how can I show my kids that it's healthy and good for parents to take care of themselves?
I couldn't agree more. My parents are the same. They're so selfless. They will do anything for us. And I what's interesting on solid appointments, I made her go, she won't do it for herself. And so having to give back, and by the way, it's a different generation. We didn't grow up in the same time. It's so different to have kids this day and age, your own career. I mean, imagine how much the world has changed with cell phones, social media, internet. It is, and now with AI, our world is changing so fast. So it's up to us to decide and navigate what we want for ourselves and our future families. And so it's crucial. It is crucial. Take it from someone who did hit major burnout and health issues because of it. Don't wait for that. You can't buy your health back when you're in that state. I tried. And so it's crucial to do it all. Just show up and enjoy the process. Even if you're going through fertility struggle, if you can start to enjoy the process, your body can exhale and help you get there.
Yeah. Finding joy in the journey.
As
we wrap up, what is one reminder you want anyone trying to conceive to carry with them today?
Be kind to yourself. It is so crucial, that we are kind, especially as women. We tend to be really hard on ourselves And oh, by the way, our words are powerful. Believe and have like faith in the process. And also, I'm here for you. WeNatal's here for you. You can email or DM us. We respond to every single email, every DM. And if you even just like need a community, need a village, we're also here for you. Try to be kind to yourself during the process, no matter where you're at.
Yeah. So where can listeners learn more about WeNatal, explore your products, your masterclass, and join the WeNatal community?
Yeah, so our website is WeNatal.com. Our Instagram is @we_natal, where we share tons of education, tips, and tricks. We have a robust blog on our website that has articles from doctors around the world, just brilliant experts in the space on pretty much every topic, and fertility, postpartum, and everything in between. Our masterclass is WeNatal.com/masterclass. We have an experts who chimed in on this. If you're trying to have a baby in 2026, this is a great little mini courses to just listen to all these experts. And more than anything, yeah, you could email us at care@wenatal.com if you want to get to me, or DM us on Instagram, and happy to support anybody in any part of their journey.
Well, amazing. Thank you so much. We will add all of that in the show notes. I have a code so listeners can get a discount on WeNatal as well. And I'm so excited to share this conversation with the world. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you for tuning in to the We Shine Well podcast. If today's conversation lit something up in you, I'd love for you to share it with a friend, leave us a review, and dive deeper each week by subscribing to our Substack in the show notes to interact with guests and discover more resources to expand you. Until next time, keep trusting your right next step and keep shining, my friend.